Hello, so today we're going to talk about how to micromanage your kinesis. We're going to talk about the different skills that kind of drains your psychic points and those that recover your psychic points. But first we're going to talk about one of the problems of kinesis, and that is A being at a higher SF map. This is because it is kind of hard to keep your psychic points up, and we all know that if your psychic points are depleted, you do not have any more magic guard. Kinesis also do not have any basic stun skills to help with survivability in SF, but someone have told me an alternative, and I will show you guys in a bit. There are many incidents in which my kinesis would stop attacking in the SF map, and to be honest, I don't really know why it's happening. I hope it's a bug. My friend did say that it has something to do with KBK, but isn't it weird that normal mobs have enough knockback to affect us? Yeah. So when I'm A-being at a SF map, I actually do not put BPM into my pet auto buff, and that's because I think that it kind of drains the psychic points really fast when you have it on. And as you can see, I'm surviving pretty well, and that's despite that most of my party members do not have much AoE, and we also do have a leeching kinesis in the party too. So this is my current skill wheel for A-being, and as you can see, I've actually added a couple more skills, and one of them is this psychic drain. And the reason why I added it is because it helps me recover my psychic points really well. Pile Driver was suggested to me in replace of the basic stun skill, and what it does is it lifts the mobs up and hit them down, which kind of like prevents them from hitting you when they're around you. And this was an amazing suggestion because it really did help me survive better in SF194. And for you guys who are wondering about my gear setup, they are actually not really good gears, and as you can see, I do not have any emblems at all, and they're mostly just used for the SF to reach 194. I actually didn't spend much to get these gears because most of them are like extra gears from my bishop and my blaze wizard. And these M labels are from my bishop, and the reason why I gave her is because my bishop will be fusing the new Stella M label. Yeah, and I'll be showing you guys when I actually do that. So now let's move on to how to manage your psychic points when you're bossing, and one of the ways is to know very well which are the skills that kind of drains your psychic points and which are those that recover it. So the level 150 hyper, which is Mental Tempest, is one of the ways to recover your psychic points, and when you use the skill, you instantly recover all of your psychic points. Psychic Charger is also a really good skill to recover 50% of your psychic points, and I would use it in both bossing and also in A-being. Also, Psychic Drain, which I explained previously, is good for bossing and mobbing to help you recover your psychic points when it is activated. The first hyper skill is really good to help you recover your psychic points too, because it doubles the amount of psychic points that you regenerate when you use Psychic Grab. And this is actually the first skill that I added when I reached 141. Okay, so now moving on to those skills that drain your psychic points, and one of them is Train Wreck, and it uses a total of 10 psychic points each time you cast it, so that's quite hefty actually. And then BPM of course drains your psychic points 1 point every second, I think, and if you keep it on during bossing and you get stunned, you actually drain it quite a lot. Your mental shield, which is your magic guard, also drains 1 psychic point every time you get hit. And other than micromanaging your psychic points, you also do have to micromanage the buffs that you cast and all your floor buffs. And so one of the floor buffs that's important is the psychic drain, simply because it regens your psychic points. And then mind quick is good as a form of debuff for the mobs or the bosses, and it's one of the floor buff that is worth keeping up if you can. Mind break actually is pretty good because it stacks your magic damage and gives you more damage. Then we have Psychic Assault, which actually grants you 10% FD if you use the skill on any of the bosses or enemies. So most of these buffs actually last 15 to 30 seconds, so you need to know when to cast them again so that you can keep stacking them. I'm just gonna show you guys how the Psychic Assault FD buff works. And so as you can see right now, I don't not have the buff on, and when I actually hit a mob using a Psychic Assault, I get 10% FD. Another interesting skill that I want to talk about is Deep Impact, and the reason why it's so interesting is because you can actually use it to remove damage reflect off your boss, and its cooldown is only 60 seconds, so it's actually much shorter than Phantom Steel. So if you bring a Kinesis to Arcarium, you can actually remove every single DR for every cycle. But you do need to make sure that your skill actually hits the boss before it actually removes the damage reflect. This is my new bossing skill wheel for Kinesis, and as you can see, I've added Deep Impact and my new 170 Hyper. So this will probably change again when I reach 200, and these are my presets. In summary, how to micromanage your Kinesis is that if you're bossing and you run out of psychic points, try to cast fewer skills that uses a lot of psychic points, like cast less of the train wreck, and then wait for those that regen your psychic points to cool down finish before you use those skills again. Also try to recast your floor buffs or your FD buffs every 15 to 30 seconds after the cooldown, and that will help you increase your damage. And my last suggestion is just to cast your floor buffs and your train wreck when the boss stops moving, so that the boss can receive a longer duration of the effects of your skills. So thank you for watching. If you do have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below. If you haven't tried Kinesis, please do try it out. It's an amazing class. In my next video, I'll be talking more about Bishop and the skill wheel after V2, and maybe I'll view some of the new M label.